What's up, Cities 2 fanatics, and welcome back to Dev Talks. My name is Flyvox, and I am here with Joy Build Cities to react to the Dev Diaries about city services. After that, obviously, we're gonna break it down in depth as per usual. I am super excited to find out more about city services in Cities Skylines 2. Joy, how are you feeling today, and are you excited as well as I am?
Of course I'm excited. I don't care what the topic is. I just want to learn more about Cities Skylines too. But yeah, service vehicles, I'm all for it. And I love that, I feel like they've kind of been showing us what's to come with CS2 because we now in CS1 have the capabilities of selecting the different types of service vehicles we want for things. So I think that was kind of a nod to what was coming. So yeah, I'm excited to see how these work, especially with that little sneak peek that we got where the cars were waiting for the ambulance to go. Yes, I want to know more. I want to know more.
All right, without further ado, let's go.
Successful city building and Cities Skylines 2 is all about people, anticipating their needs and desires.
Look at the detail on that bench.
Amazing.
I can't.
Understanding what annoys and delights them, and doing what it takes to give them healthy, happy lives from beginning to end. How?
It's just so
These
beautiful.
Services. You'll build clinics and hospitals to deliver health care.
Oh my God.
Plus the ambulance service people need in life or death situations.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, sometimes it will be a
there's a hearse.
situation. So you'll add death care services that transport people to the city's crematoriums and cemeteries.
Look at that cemetery!
For kids of all ages, plus colleges and universities.
It's so
After
pretty.
all, education fosters social advancement. Life still might take a turn for the worse for some people. When it does, you'll want the safety net of a welfare office. One thing
that's
that
so-
improves
oh my
everyone's
God.
well-being, no matter what's going on in life, is time outdoors. You'll create parks, plazas,
parks.
attractions, and
Look at
landmarks
that.
make people living nearby happier and healthier.
Oh my gosh, I'm so
Safety
excited.
first is a good mantra.
Oh, look
in
at the
Cities
fire.
Skylines
Look how
too. So you'll want various fire and rescue services. Just adding a firehouse reduces the likelihood of a blaze in the neighborhood. Same with police
Wow.
stations. Build them and send patrols out onto the streets to cut crime. Communications is a new city service in Cities Skylines too, helping with more
Communications.
essential needs. That includes the internet. Naturally,
What?
the easier it is to connect to the web, the happier everyone will feel and the more
Get
profitable
outta
the city's
here.
businesses
Oh, I
will
love
be.
it.
Of course, everyone relies on electricity, so you want to avoid long outages. They aren't just aggravating. Blackouts will prompt people to move out and force businesses to pause production, putting profits at risk.
Oh,
Keep
wow.
electricity lines humming with sustainable energy sources like wind, solar, geothermal,
Oh,
and
let's
hydropower.
go.
Go old
Stop
school with
it!
fuels like coal and gas. There's always the nuclear
The
option
solar
too.
panels.
This is the most realistic
Oh my
city
God,
builder
is that
ever.
polluted
so you'll need
water?
To deal with a lot of We're talking sewage.
No.
Gross? Yes. Necessary? Also yes. With a wastewater treatment plant, you can purify sewage and circulate water into your city's freshwater network. Or you can pump sewage into open waters and out of the network. Don't forget to stay on top of garbage. Garbage processing centers,
Wait,
landfills, and
you
an
can
incineration plant will
decide the
stop piling up.
size
But
of...
don't take shortcuts. Air and
Wow.
water pollution can sink land values,
Okay.
harm the health
Wait a
of residents,
minute.
and tarnish the city's appeal to tourists. Ready to introduce a city service? Previously, you only had to construct a city service building. When that service needed to cover a larger area or support more people, you simply constructed the same building again. Not
Yeah.
anymore. Almost all city services can now be upgraded
Oh,
to scale
yes.
operations and expand functionality. While city services make your city livable,
Oh, look at this.
they come at a
Oh.
cost. Balancing these costs
Oh my
and
gosh.
the very real needs of everyone in your city is the name of the game.
Wait, you can earn money from
Subscribe
education?
to the Cities Skylines 2 YouTube channel for updates and more feature highlights.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Wait a minute. What did we just see?
This was so epic. I can't. Oh, the solar panels, everything. All right, we have to
Okay.
take a closer look. Let's
Deep
let's-
dive.
let's just deep dive right now.
Oh Okay, now that we have had a chance to read the PDF, let's go through this and talk about all the really cool things that we found. Wow, I'm mind blown by what we saw and what we just read. So let's talk about it.
Yeah, for sure. Like, so the one big thing that I take away from this is that the basic mechanics of city services are the same, but it's like, don't just place services, right? You need to understand the needs of your citizens, right? So whereas in Cities 1, we would simply just place, a fire station, and then you would place another fire station, you have to be aware and also keep in mind that you can upgrade your service buildings, which is really, really cool, because like these services in Cities 1, they would bump up your land value, which would make, the citizens happy, which would make the area more desirable for citizens to move in. However, in Cities 2, the services only like indirectly affect the land value because they answer the citizens' needs, which then they are in turn willing to pay higher rent. That is what increases the land value, which is like really, really crazy to wrap your brain around, but it's not too complicated. Right? It sounds a bit complicated, but it's not too much. It's like the same, but it's also kind of different, right?
Yeah, it's really all centered around what we've learned from the PDF today is everything's really centered around your citizens' well-being. Your citizens have way more freedom in this game to make their own choices, which in turn you're going to have to react to. So it's just, again, we've talked about like how every builder who creates a game, they're going to have a different experience because nothing's ever going to be the same, because even the citizens, they have a lot of freedom and choice in this game that we didn't have in Cities Skylines 1. And so, yeah, all of it makes logical sense if you think about how a real city functions. But yeah, it's really cool. Really cool.
Yeah, 100%. Oh my God, this looks so good. Another thing that I thought was really amazing is that different citizens have different needs, right? So the different age types as well, like the seniors in your city, they would value places to spend their time, like where they have a lot of free time, they want to spend their time, so that is what they value the most. Whereas adults, which is typically your workforce in the city, they value places where the job is nearby, or where they can have a mode of transportation, a form of public transportation that transports them easily to their job. And families with children would typically prefer your areas where there's good school coverage, elementary school coverage. So I think that is really, really cool. And also that companies value services that increase the efficiency and the profit margin. So you really have to be aware of what you place where and how you can make everybody happy, basically.
Yeah. And we're going to get into it, but I think we're here now talking about this piece. So it's like when you put down a service building, we're not placing 5 or 6 service buildings anymore like we used to. You place down one, and we're going to talk about this a little later as we go through this, but then you upgrade that building and it affects the city in 2 different ways, which we'll talk about, which is really cool. But I love that idea versus in City Skylines 1, we're just, how many times do we have to like spam crematoriums? It's annoying. We don't have to do that anymore, which I think aesthetically is very pleasing. And I talk about aesthetics. This cemetery is gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. And I'm just looking at everything here and hoping that we have access to all of this as props.
Oh my God, that would be so amazing. Yeah, 100%.
Right.
Looking so good. Oh, this elementary school as well.
Elementary school.
It's like, oh my God, I can't even. The different service types that we have in the game, of course, the roads, obviously, you got electricity, which is one of your key components. Just as in Cities 1, no electricity, citizens will get unhappy, they will move out, businesses will lose the efficiency, which causes the production and the function to cease. Of course, the shop is out of business, they can't function anymore. And I think that is just like, it's like so amazing because again, that form of realism, I think that's so good. It adds so much more realism.
And with electricity, we have the wind turbine. There's the solar power plant. We saw those solar panels. Am I getting too far ahead of myself here?
Here's the solar panels. Oh my God.
Yeah. So it's actually like a solar power plant or like a solar
Yeah.
farm. But again, are these going to be individual
I was
props?
about to say, can I place them
Right.
individually? Like,
Right. And then there's the geothermal, hydro, coal, gas, and nuclear. So we're starting the game off with all of the options, which is
yes.
really amazing to see.
Yeah, and then for water and sewage, it's almost the same, slight differences. You're still able to pump water with the water pumps, just as in CS1. But now, the groundwater, it's like you don't have these water towers anymore, but you have these groundwater deposits, which provide the fresh water, but they're just more susceptible to ground pollution. So that's also something you need to be aware of when building your city or providing your city with the fresh water. And the sewage is almost the same as well. You can either dump it into the open waters, which is showcased in the video right here. So, or you can pump it out of the water network with your wastewater treatment plant.
Right.
You can purify it,
Yeah.
which I think is so cool. Look, and the visuals again look super good, I think.
The other thing was the garbage.
Yeah,
Big
right.
change. Look at this. We can draw our own like landfills, which is so much
I'm just
more
going.
realistic.
Okay, look. Let's pause real quick.
Yeah.
Right there, because okay, look at that. You
Look
got
at
this.
this.
I wonder, like, it's.
I wonder if that's the pollution area effect.
Is that the? Oh, right. That's probably better than my idea. I thought it was like the area where you would be able to place the nodes of this then landfill thing, but the pollution.
Gotcha.
Yeah, pollution
Yeah.
radius might make more sense.
Maybe that's pollution radius. But yeah, this is so cool. So the interesting thing is that every place creates garbage, right? We know that. But it's now in the game, depending on the building size, the building zone type, the level, the education level, it all varies on how much garbage a building creates. So it's all individual. So higher educated citizens create less garbage. Higher level buildings create less garbage. So it's really interesting. And then, of course, there are recycle centers and incineration plant, like we've had before. But the really cool thing with the landfills that it said in the PDF, with Cities Skylines 1, the landfills fill up and then we have to empty them. It says here that the garbage processes from the landfills just slowly. So it doesn't sound like we're going to have these full things that we have to empty.
Right.
And in the same vein with death care, it doesn't seem like things are going to fill up. At least there was nothing in there about that. So I wonder if that's something that they have heard us all like lament about and have made it so it's kind of more realistic, So yeah, exciting stuff with the garbage.
Health and death care is sort of straightforward as in Cities 1, right? So the healthcare adds this like passive health bonus, and ambulances will respond to traffic accidents, taking care of the injured citizens, right? So I thought we've already seen that, where the ambulance does this was like near a traffic accident, which I thought was really, really cool. Like in one of the previous videos. Going to the death care now with the hearse, the image of the hearse right here. There are various causes of death in the game, which I was a bit shocked about also, but again, like kind of excited in a way that is like because of the realism of the game. So we got old age. Citizens can die of old age once the health decreases, which I thought was interesting. Like as if there's maybe you don't have enough healthcare coverage in your city, and that can happen. Traffic accidents, so citizens can die from traffic accidents, and collapsed buildings. That we've read in one of the previous Dev Diaries that homeless citizens would occupy abandoned buildings, and these abandoned buildings could technically collapse with the people in there. And of course, a natural disaster can cause a building to collapse as well. So that was very interesting to me, very exciting, I guess, in a realism type way, but also a bit scary. Because, I don't know, seeing accidents with then the death sign popping up, I don't know. That's kind of, I don't know.
Because a lot of us play the game to escape reality. So, we'll have to see how that works. The thing that was really interesting too is that if your citizens are sick, they don't go to work, and that actually has an effect on the commercial and the places that they work. So the game really is, as much as we use the game to escape from reality, it is very realistic.
Yeah.
And so you got to take care of everyone is kind of the whole point. Is like well-being plays in huge. And yeah. All right. Education. Are we ready to dive into that?
Here we go.
Oh my gosh, this was mind-blowing.
Look at this tab right here. This is wow.
There's a lot here, guys. Sorry, but like we read this section in the PDF and we were like, oh my gosh, this is so much.
Yeah, this is one of the big ones right here, which I thought. Well, first of all, the forms. All right, we have the elementary school, we have the high school, and we got the college, university school, which is basically the same as in Cities 1, but. And here comes the kicker, right? So children always go to elementary schools. And the thing is, with teens and adults, they could actually choose to go to school or to work, right? So teens go to high school, adults would go to college or universities, but they can choose not to do that. They can choose to get a job and start working right away. So the factors that decide, or the factors how the citizens decide, can be as simple as their interests, which I thought was wow, right? And like their finances, right? They actually check their financial situation and see if it's more beneficial for them to start working now in a lower paid job because of the lower education and to earn less, or study or nothing, but then down the line get a higher paying job with a higher education level and then making more money. So they take all of that into account, and I'm like, I'm reading that in the PDF with you, Joy, and I'm like, what?
I know. Again, it comes back to this thing that our experiences in building the cities are always going to be different because the citizens themselves have some autonomy in the game, right? And no longer do you have a district where you say everyone here will go to work instead of go to college, right? We had that before. We don't have that anymore. They make the choice, and it's just fascinating, and I'm excited to see it. So there are the 5 levels of education in the game. So there's uneducated, poorly educated, educated, well-educated, and highly educated. Here was the other thing that was so interesting that I know both you and I were like, oh my gosh, what? So citizens can choose to go to college or university, but they can fail to graduate. Not everyone that goes to college or university in your city will graduate. And, then they have to decide, what are they going to do if they fail? Are they going to go back into the workforce, or do they spend more time? Like, how does that work? I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. But I thought that was just like mind-blowing to me. And you would think, oh, okay, well, that just means I need to place a college within proximity. No, it's not about that. There really is autonomy from what we've seen in the PDF. This making your own choices, which I think is so cool.
100%. I thought that was really amazing. Again, with the realism, I'm repeating myself, broken record at this point, but I can't stress this enough. How real this is with the simulation and everything. It's like, oh my god. All right, fire and police. Let's go back to something more normal because it is straightforward in Cities 2, basically the same as in Cities 1. A cool thing is that we now, of course, since we have natural disasters right off the bat in the base game, we have fire watch towers. We got all this natural disasters like a shelter, disaster warning building. We have that in the base game, which I thought was really, really cool. And of course, when there's a fire, the fire trucks go out, the fire engines go out, and they take care of that. If you place a police station, I thought was really, really cool, you can then send your police cars out to patrol, which this car is probably doing right here. The police cars that patrol, they actually encourage good behavior of your citizens to not commit any crimes or to commit less crimes, right? So patrolling police cars are kind of important, I would assume, in your city to, not get that crime level up.
And same with the prison part is really interesting.
Yeah.
As well. So there's a couple things. So your citizens can get sent to prison, but the question is, how do they become criminals? Well, in this game, you actually can accidentally create criminals.
Yeah.
If your citizens don't have enough well-being, they're more likely to end up, not being good citizens. So it actually happens like that in the game. So your citizens can get sent to prison. Two cool things, though, is they can get rehabilitated, and after they come out of prison, they can then come back and live in society. But while they're in prison, you can get them to work for cheap for you, because you can decide to have your prison facility work and being, making products and things like that, which, we do see happen over here in America with our prison system. So as flawed as they are. But I thought that was really unique. And there's a really cool thing that you can actually also put your prisoners through what was it called? It's like you can educate them while they're in prison. Yeah, that was really cool that you could. So not only is there a rehabilitation, there's also like this whole education piece where they can get educated. So it really does get way more into detail with, again, it's based around that citizen's well-being, what they're doing, and that can change over time.
I thought that was really, really amazing. Like the prisons in Cities 1, I barely ever used them, right? So each police station has like prison built in, and it was always enough. For my cities, at least. Maybe I placed a prison down for looks. I think we've all created like one of these like Alcatraz type islands in our city with like a prison on a small piece of land. This right here, this has like even more function now. So I think that's really, really cool.
And the prisons look so cool. Like it's.
Oh yeah, I'll throw that up.
It's really. I mean, everything is looking good, but yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Another thing that is super, super amazing and was described in more detail is the administration. Like, there's more stuff. We have I think it's right here. We have 3 types of administration. You got the welfare office, which I thought was really, really cool. They say that in the video as well. They basically help citizens that are out of their luck back up on their feet, and I think that's so cool. I really like that. And I think this is the building right here, because they just place it down here. So it has this like little heart, this hand with the heart here. I think that's it.
Yeah, that must be it.
And it has this little fountain here. So this welfare building, it looks really, really cool, I think, and it helps your citizens. Let's go. I'm all for that. Then next we have the City Hall, which is a bit more complicated. It has, well, not complicated, but it has like citywide effects, and they can range from lowered loan interest rates and import costs to reduce crime rates, building level costs. So an actual function of placing that City Hall building. I don't know if we see that in the video. No, but it's like one of these two right down here. I know which one is which. So they place the welfare office, and so one of the other two is the City Hall, but then you also have the bank. You also have a bank to place down, and that also helps to reduce loans, boost companies' profits by lowering import costs while increasing the export profits, right? So again, banks, or a bank from the beginning in the base game. We had a financial district DLC in Cities 1, but now we got a bank, and it actually works and provides positive effect for your city. I think that is super, super cool.
Yeah, and we're getting that in the base game right off the bat, so that's fantastic.
That is super amazing.
So now, Parks and Recreation.
We're going to parks.
Hello.
We're going to parks.
I'm so excited. So the Parks and Recreation are a little bit different in Cities Skylines 2 than they are from Cities Skylines 1. So in Cities Skylines 1, we know we can place down parks, and you can affect your land value. So you can basically spam parks to up your land value. Again, doesn't work like this in Cities Skylines 2. It's
Mhm.
all based on the citizens' well-being. So if you do place down a park, it actually doesn't automatically increase the land value. Instead, it can be something to attract the citizens and potentially increase their well-being. And in turn, they'll pay higher rent. And then in turn, that affects land value. So again, these things are just kind of flipped on their head from the
Yeah.
way that we think about them in Cities Skylines 1. But it does look like we are getting city parks. We saw a skate park in the last video. There's
Right.
plazas. We've seen sports venues. So it does look like right off the bat in the beginning of the game, like we're getting a lot of different varieties of landmarks, leisure destinations, and parks. Like it, as they talk about restaurants and shopping and things like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
very curious to see what all the buildings look like, what we get. Very excited for that.
Another super cool detail that was in the PDF document as well was that we got a glimpse of how the seasons work, because it says there, especially in the parks and recreation part, that weather and the time of year actually affect the citizens' choice of how they will fulfill their leisure demand, right? So if it's sunny, if it's warm, if it's nice weather, they will choose to visit a park that's outside. And if it's, rainy, or it's maybe winter time, it's cold, they will prefer to go shopping indoors or do activities indoors. And I think that's so great. I think that's so great to see, or to get like this little hint of how the seasons affect the citizens' behavior, the choices that they make. That's really, really cool, I think.
Yes, what a nice little sneak peek.
Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
other cool thing was there's an attractiveness value in the game that is going to affect how many tourists come into your city. And just, similarly, we just got this hotels DLC, right? And we all know in CS1 how we have to place all these things near our hotels, or place our hotel in a place where it has this different value. So essentially, kind of the same thing here, but again, it's all based on the individual citizens. So the tourists will want to stay at hotels where they have good, proximity to tourist attractions and parks and things like that, or public transportation that can get them to them quickly. So, again, it's all about the well-being of the citizens, which I think is great.
Yeah, exactly. It's very much emphasis on well-being of the citizens, and I'm all for it, right?
Yes.
All right. What was also really cool is the communications that we have. Postal service says right here, and telecom. Though the postal service actually has a purpose now. Of course, as in Cities 1, the postal service would boost the land value, but or to an extent. But now I think it's really, really cool that the postal service actually boosts the happiness, because it says in the PDF, and Editor Flybox will throw it up there, the citizens, they will want to send postcards to their loved ones, they will want to send love letters, opinionated letters, which I thought was really, really cool. Otherwise, the well-being decreases, right? And the same with companies. Companies increase efficiency with their mail. I just thought that was really, really amazing, that the postal service is not just something that you use to, because it looks good maybe, and it like slightly increases the land value, but it actually has a reason now, a purpose to keep the citizens happy, keep the companies running efficient. I thought that was really, really amazing.
And then the telecommunications,
Yes.
we are going to have to provide high-speed internet for everybody, and it affects everything. So the high-speed internet does a bunch of things. So it affects your leisure demand, which makes sense because we all watch YouTube to fulfill our
Indeed.
leisure, right? So, it does make sense. And it's interesting too, because the stronger the signal is, the more well-being is fulfilled for your citizens, which I thought was really interesting. So the cool thing is our ability to create rural communities in this game is going to be really realistic because, it's hard to provide all those services for a rural area. So that's going to be, I
Hmm.
think, really interesting. So the cool thing is with the companies, because they can communicate with each other, it affects what they can produce and the costs and all of that. So it really is an important part, again, centering around the well-being of the citizens.
Hmm. Indeed. I love that. I love that we have to provide high-speed internet for our citizens now.
Yes.
Not
yes.
sure if I love it the first time I forget about it, but
Okay, so I know I was talking about telecommunications, but I have to talk about it. It wasn't shown in the video. Two things that weren't shown in the video,
Yeah.
but they're two things that I'm really excited about.
Mhm.
So, Fly, thanks for letting me talk about this because I was
Please.
like freaking out. With landscaping, there's a little section in the PDF called landscaping, which made me so happy. But there is tree growth confirmed. We have been speculating about this. So when you plant a tree, it's a sapling and then it will grow over time. If you have a fire and the tree burns down, then you will have a dead tree, and it will take time for those trees to go from dead trees to saplings to regrow again. So the trees are realistic, which is so cool. I love this so much. The second thing that we've seen throughout the game, but they
Yeah.
haven't really talked about, is walkability. So your citizens, there is pathfinding. They, just like with CS1, they will take the paths if it's shorter. It will save them money on their transportation costs. There's a lot of, from what the PDF says, there are multiple pedestrian bridges. So we'll
Mhm.
have to see, but the ones I've seen are really pretty. So for me, the fact that I create, pedestrian focused cities, walkability is so important to me. So I'm glad at least there was something in the PDF that was like, yes, this is still a thing. That made me really happy.
And service upgrades. Another cool thing, I thought, because we've talked about that just before now. Instead of placing like multiple service buildings, you can upgrade to get that wider coverage, which is really cool. There are different types of upgrades. First of all, you have the operational, which changes the function, but there's no visual change to the building. You have extensions where the building itself, which will change the appearance, but it will fit into the existing lot. So you don't have to think about the space, because once you place it on the building and you add an extension, like extension wings or garages, it will fit into the existing lot, which I thought was really cool. And then you have sub buildings which don't fit into the existing lot. There is not enough space, and you have to be aware that either you've left enough space in the beginning, or something will get demolished, or you don't have to demolish something or move something maybe. And there was a good example in the PDF as well, the children's clinic and a playground for the elementary school upgrade, which I thought was kind of cool. And yeah, again, I can't wait to actually play around with that. And there's the upgrade right here. There you go.
Yeah.
That's actually the
looks so
elementary
cool.
school as well, right here, that we see here. Not sure what
Yeah.
they're using to upgrade. More space.
Yeah, it's
All
gonna
right,
be-
so you can see right there you can see right there the extensions. Left and right, more space for more pupils. So you can simply just extension wings. You can just put that on there, and you can see it doesn't take away any space, because previously there was like a park area here, and now it's just like a building there.
Right. Yeah. Very cool. And
Yeah.
I love this too, because the thing in the PDF said, the thing with these service buildings that we're placing down, whether it be college or a police station, in CS1 we had to place multiple of them for a service coverage area. No longer do you have to do that. You place one, and it has a much larger coverage area, because there are passive coverage areas and a simulated effect is what they're calling it. So the passive coverage area is the location around where you place your service building. So that passive coverage area will increase the well-being, decrease the, either increase the education or decrease the crime. But then there's a simulated effect, and that's the patrolling. And there's also a simulated effect, it seems, with the education too. So you don't have to place so many buildings anymore, which is so great. And that's realistic too, because you will travel to go to school, you know, a little bit, especially with college or a university. So I think that's really cool. Speaking of that, the other thing in the PDF that was really cool was this fact that we could do service trades.
Oh, right. Yeah. Service trades, which is truly amazing because you can actually import and export services. And I was like, wait, what?
Mind blowing. Mind blowing.
Mind blowing. So electricity, water, and sewage is something that you can import into your city or you can export into your city. And I remember distinctly in one of the previous Dev Diaries, I think it might even have been the first one, we saw an image where there was a menu up and it said sewage export. And I was like, wait, what is that? And we talked briefly about that. Oh, what could that be?
Yeah.
What does that mean? So now we know you have service trade and you can export your sewage, apparently. Like if you don't have a place to get rid of it, if you don't want to pollute your water, if you can't purify it yet, maybe you haven't unlocked the wastewater treatment plant, then you can export it and it will just, poof, go away. So of course that costs money, but you can get rid of it that way. And then you have the medical, the police, and fire, which can be imported. So I'm not sure how that works if you do not have to place any of these services in your city technically in order for fires to be put out, for instance. Well, I mean, you need these services. We talked about that.
Right.
They cater to the needs of the citizens. But
well, it said in the PDF that a fire truck or an ambulance will come in from the outside connection. You don't have to have a building placed down. It will take a longer period of time, but it's cool because
it actually said in the PDF. Oh, right.
Yeah, it said it would drive in. This was a long PDF, guys. It said it would
was so
drive
long.
in and pick up, the people that need to be treated and then take them outside to treat them, which I thought that was so cool. And education. Education. This means you could actually genuinely build a realistic college town because citizens will come from outside connections to go to your university specifically, and your citizens could go to outside connections to go to college. So you have, young people going away to college, which is so realistic, and it makes me so excited because the prospect of building a genuine college town, I love the concept of that, and I think that's just so cool. Cool.
Yeah, agreed. It's just so cool. I agree. Some small things also that were in the PDF, which were super cool, that were not shown in the video though. I'll quickly go over this, are the districts, which I thought was truly amazing because apparently the districts are node-based now. So you can draw nodes, you can connect them, and once you close that area, the district has been created. That means it's more precise. You have more freedom of where and how you draw it. And the good thing is you can simply adjust the nodes after you've drawn or closed the districts in order to, resize it, to make a different shape. And we've seen that in other Dev Diary videos before where they draw out the farm fields, for instance, from the industrial area. It's sort of the same with the districts because you could just simply node based, and I thought that was super amazing. Then you have these
brilliant.
Yeah, brilliant for sure. The district policies, of course, that only apply to the district. For instance, you could limit heavy traffic, you could have gated communities, and you can even have speed bumps, which of course, lowers the risk of traffic accidents. Lowers the risk of traffic accidents, overall more safety for the drivers. City policies, the other thing from district policies, which is for the districts, but the city policies are citywide. And so in cities too, you have 7 different district policies and 5 city policies providing different ways to customize your city. And I, for one, think that is cool. That is really, really cool. It's slimmed down a bit in terms of policies, right? So in Cities 1, we had a whole bunch. But yeah, I thought sometimes for me, I've never played as much with the policies when I did like a regular build, so I think it's kind of good that it's like slimmed down to just a few selected.
It's concise.
Yeah.
It's concise. It
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah. And with these policies too, like the cool thing about the gated community policy, which I think is so great, is it actually functions like the policy that we had where it was like no through traffic. Like the only people that can go into that community live in that community or are delivering something there. So
Right.
it's really cool that they've basically taken those things and then kind of combined them. And I don't know, I'm excited about the whole thing. I'm excited about the whole thing. I'm excited about everything we saw today. Yeah, it was just phenomenal and like, wow.
Same here. Big wow for me too. Okay, but that concludes the breakdown of the Dev Diary. And please, everyone out there watching, if you noticed that we missed anything that was in the video or in the PDF, which is also linked down below, you can read up on that as well. Please do let us know in the comments. We love reading all of your comments. They're so amazing. Very, very fun to read. And if you want to talk about this video or talk about Cities Skylines in general, Joy and I run a joint Discord with 3 other amazing builders called the City of Friends Discord, which is also linked in the description below. Feel free to stop by, hang out, and chat with us about these amazing Dev Diary videos or just about anything in general. So thank you all so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day, and please stay safe out there. Bye-bye.